I'm Irfan Hussain and I'm here with another video lecture of our course of comparative literature. Our today's video is continuation of our series of two videos of principles of the study of comparative literature, and these principles have been taken from Stephen Totsoidis and from his book Comparative Literature Theory, Method and Application, that was published in 1998. In our first video we already have discussed 5 principles, and in this video we will study and try to understand from principle number 6 to 10. So what is the sixth principle? That is focus on literature within the context of culture. This is somewhat a deviation from the modern approach, that is a totally text-centered approach in which author, culture and other aspects are ignored and only text is taken as self-evident element. Here the sixth principle tells that we need to focus on the aspects of culture as well, and if you do not understand the culture in right way, you cannot understand the literature in right way, and in this way you cannot compare the literatures from different cultures. If you study things fall apart, you find different elements of colonialism and the culture of that particular people. And if you compare it with the Heart of Darkness, although this is also written in the colonial context, but you will find a big difference when you peep into the culture of these two novels. So when you want to do a comparative study, you have to focus on literature within the context of culture, and without placing it in the context, we cannot understand the literature in true spirit. The seventh is very important again: theoretical, methodological and as well as ideological and political approach of inclusion. That is, of inclusion, what you can include in your study. So when we talk about inclusion, we have to include beyond racism, and we have to do away with all the marginalization. We have to include every sector of culture, every sector of society, and everything in your comparative study. And also you have to inculcate all the disciplines in comparative study. This is a time of exclusion, that people are marginalized, somewhere gender marginalization, somewhere complexion, color marginalization, and many other things. But if you want a true comparative study, you have to include all these marginalized sections. Then attention and assistance on methodology in interdisciplinary study, an umbrella term with 3 main types of methodological procedures. So you have to make that study interdisciplinary. And what are these 3 other aspects of this principle? Let us see it. One is intradisciplinary analysis and research within the disciplines in the humanities. That when someone does research, one includes the disciplines of humanities, that can be language and other disciplines of arts. And other is multidisciplinary analysis. Here research by one scholar implying any other discipline, that may be beyond the humanities, beyond the basic arts disciplines, and it can touch other disciplines as well. We know when we do that kind of comparative study, we include almost every branch of knowledge of a human being, that includes science, basic sciences, and all these things. Pluridisciplinary analysis and research by teamwork with participants from several disciplines. So that is an advanced stage in which the research is not made by one person, one individual, but it is by the team. And team is not from one discipline, but team is taken from different disciplines. But in this case, an obstacle is the general reluctance of literary scholars to employ teamwork for the study of literature. In sciences, it is very common that people do research in collaboration from different regions, different countries, but unfortunately in literature it is not very common. People are always reluctant to include other people in their team, but it is possible. The ninth rule is its content against the contemporary paradox of globalization versus localization. Yes, this is a true paradox. On one side we talk about globalization, that word is a small village now, but on the other side there is a kind of localization in which major sectors of society are excluded because of racism, because of other kinds of marginalization. Many people are ignored, many sectors are ignored, and so this is a paradox that on one side we talk about globalization, and on the other side we are doing that polarization as well. But literary people and the people who are working in comparative study, they have to go against that paradox, and we have to include everything without any biasness. Last but not the least, globalization of technology, industry and communication is actively pursued and implemented, but on other hand the forces of exclusion as represented by local, racial, national, gender, disciplinary interest prevail in too many aspects. This is what I just discussed now, that on one side we talk about globalization, but on the other side we exclude on the basis of racial, national, gender, disciplinary interest. This is the 10th one. Now this is the last one. Its claim on the vocational commitment of its practitioner. That is very important according to the period of today, time of today, that if one studies, this is not study for study, honestly, that he must know what is prospects for his future life, what benefits he can gain from comparative study, what advantages he can gain from comparative study, what kind of job opportunities he can gain from comparative study of comparative study. So in other words, why to study and why to work in comparative literature. So that is the 10th principle, the major one. So this is all. We discussed 5 principles in the first video and now 5 in this one, and I hope that after understanding these 10 principles, your lot of questions will have been cleared. I am continuously receiving questions, unfortunately not by my direct students, my students who are my students in BS. I'm not having any questions from them, but I'm having questions from other people who are not directly associated with me. But I hope that my students will also take equal interest. So thank you very much. See you, and if you have any questions you may ask me, and you can discuss anything, and if I could not make it clear, could not make things easy for you, you can ask me in comment in my WhatsApp group and at any platform, wherever you want. So thanks for now. Take care. God bless you.